What is going on, everybody? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me. I can see you all. I see Rouster, Obi. Rouster, how are you doing? Holtz, thank you for staying up. I see what you did there. Wit, how are you doing? Ambi, so glad to see everybody. Today's like a really cool interview because I get to like talk to someone who does like what I do, but on a much grander scale. So if there's like gaming personalities that you've seen, I'm telling you, this person's probably talked to them, has them on speed dial. It's super awesome. He's a super wholesome dude. Uh, just like if you ever seen him, his content, it's just one of those things that just like you really feel comfortable no matter where you're coming from in the gaming sphere. So Jinx, thank you, Jinx. We got to talk. I need to bring you on here eventually, Jinx. But without further ado, that's spelled ADO, by the way. Without further ado, I want to bring out none other than WebDave. What's going on, WebDave?
Hey, Purple, thank you so much for having me. It's awesome.
No, thank you for coming on. Spending some time with me. With the chat, with the community. You're pretty big personality in the gaming
You're
community.
right. I'm a pretty big guy.
No, 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 I didn't
That's
mean it
true.
like that.
I,
No, but you a lot of people come through your channel. You definitely and you talk about a wide range of things. But for people who don't know, how would you describe yourself?
um, well, I'm just somebody that's was looking for something to do during COVID, and I just decided to to watch a lot of shows. So I guess I'm just kind of inquisitive. So as I was watching other content providers, there was kind of like I want to know more about this person. I like what they're talking about. I like how their perspective is. So a lot of times I would just have questions, wanting to know more about that particular person. So then I just decided to, one day just bite the bullet and give it a shot and invite one of my mentors on. Mr. Boomstick is my first guest, and so
Pretty
yeah,
big,
so
pretty big person.
not too bad, not too bad. Yeah, and super nice guy too. That was and very encouraging too. That's what's one of the great things about him in the community is that he's willing to help anybody to get to get their start. So
No, that's super awesome. And so I would imagine WebDave, there obviously there's web in your name, right? Like
yep,
that's like where your name comes from.
right, yeah. It's I mean I'm not a web slinger. The web refers to the internet. A long time ago, when the internet was very new, very new, and one of the jobs I had was working at a radio station, and we wanted to get into this interesting thing called, a website for the station. So I, got the Internet for Dummies and website creating for Dummies book and started reading at it and everything. So as it started, learning how to design some websites and things like that early, that I needed a name, so it's like, well, I'm on the web. My name's Dave. So there you go. That was silly as that. The web Dave is how, and I've just used it ever since. My gamer tag. It's every different gaming thing. There is once in a blue moon, I'll come across something where I'm like, I have to put in a two or something after it because somebody else has jumped on web Dave. It's like, what's up, man? I'm web Dave. But other than that, that's about it.
So you're like OG web. And if y'all did not hear that, that's actually something this is not just any ordinary YouTuber with a radio voice. If you didn't catch it, there's actually something in there that we're gonna unpack later. But I want to say what's up to Robolica. I was actually on Robolica's stream earlier. Robolica, I catch you like when I can. Your sim, if y'all did not know, Robolica's a sim streamer. Super calming if you ever can go check her out. And also, you can't see it, Rabaka. You kind of can. But there is like a little Lamote that Rabaka crocheted for me. So everybody, Rabaka's super good people. And Sanchez, I see you, yo purple, yo chat. I see you, Sanchez. So with that, so Web Dave,
Hmm.
we kind of got who you are, right?
Mhm.
personality. You've been around the internet since the beginnings of the internet. You did a web page. You
Mhm.
I'm not sure if that was a GeoCities or Lycosite or any of those types of things.
Oh, man, it was, I can't even remember the name of the company. It was
It was back.
you had to do raw data you had to put in there. Yeah, yeah, some kinda deal that the radio station worked out with a client, you know?
Yeah. Well,
So,
it sounds super exciting. Like I said, we're gonna jump into it. But obviously, like where does gaming begin for you? Like, where's your first are you one of those OG pinball machine types? Or are you like Atari, Coleco? Like where are we at? Oh, I see it.
yeah.
I think for the occasion, we're also representing
Oh, look at that, look
yeah,
at that.
no, we're representing Little Atari.
Very nice. Love
Uh,
Centipede.
yes. So
Yeah.
tell us what on Atari?
So, my dad was a kind of, guy that always liked to have the neatest, newest things. Of course, back in the '70s, it was, there wasn't a whole lot of really cool, neat, cool stuff like there is now. So, he got in his head that, he wanted to get this Atari gaming system. So the day it came out, he's like, "Come on, boy, we're going." And we did, and we went, we picked out a couple games, got a system. Got back to the house. He played it about maybe an hour, hour and a half with me, and then he kinda lost interest, and I got to keep it and kept growing with it ever since, and, it's kinda where it started, was the early Atari, and then, of course, I got to, from there, I started, arcades and stuff like that, so I played a lot of arcades. We had an Aladdin's Castle at our mall, one of the old days, playing Tron and stuff like that when it was, in the actual arcade with a big unit, the stand-up thing, and I was like, "That was crazy," and then, Killer Instinct, I love that game, and then come to find out that there's, through some of the magazines out at the time that there was a code where you could actually do a special finishing move for Orchid. It's gonna
Hmm.
sound perverted, sorry, but there is a when I move, you may have heard of it, where you can actually where she turns away from the camera audience, as it were, but she unzips and you actually hear the zip sound, unzips her shirt and flashes the opponent, and their character's eyes bug out, and then
Uh,
they die, and it's hilarious. And it's like it was one of those things a hidden thing that they put in there, and somebody discovered it, and then once I was able to do it all the time, people would just hang around and be like, "Do that move."
oh
So
my goodness.
silly as that sounds, but yeah.
No, well, it's totally, last week we talked to yeah, Sour Blow
Oh,
was
yeah,
was
Sour
here.
Blow.
Sour Blow and then Severin, who sometimes comes around the channel. They were talking about Conger's Bad Fur Day and how in that
Mhm.
game you pee on people. So we're used to perversion on our perverted gaming stuff on this channel. Um, you're safe. You're safe here. Hey, what's up, Crow? Um, so okay. So we're jumping a little further ahead when we talk about Killer Instincts here, right? So
Yeah,
if you're on Atari,
yeah.
just really quick, you gotta tell us favorite Atari game.
Oh, by far, Adventure, because it's actually the first video game to ever have an Easter egg in it. And,
Really?
yeah, the very first one, and Atari at the time, they didn't give credit to anybody that made games. It was like a big you throw a bunch of people in together and make games and stuff. It wasn't anything like it is now, like, famous people like, Todd Howard or whoever like that. It was, you know, like, you were just part of the workforce, and that was what you did. So the main guy that worked on Adventure, he put a little secret device in the game, it was actually invisible, and you had to a lot of different steps you had to do to find it, and then to do that, you basically unlocked a certain room, and then once you did, the only thing about the Easter egg was the like colors would go crazy, and down the center of the column was the guy's name. That was the whole Easter egg, was just because his dad was he have his name in it. So yeah, and you can still do it on even on the emulated ones or anything like that. It's still part of the code. So it can still be done. And then there's several different YouTube things on if you just do a search for it. But yeah, it's kind of neat. In fact, that's even the reference they used for the book Ready Player One, which was a Steven Spielberg movie that they did based off the Klein's book. But and that's I don't know. I just really enjoyed doing it, even though the game takes to beat it maybe 10 minutes, kind of thing. But like you could go through it over and over again. You could change the settings, and it was some of the stuff was random, kind of thing.
So
But
no, it's
I always enjoyed it.
no, that's super cool. 10 minutes. Sounds like the new Hellblade 2. No, joking, joking, joking. No,
Funny.
joking. No, joking. I just saw that on Twitter. No, y'all, it's gonna be a great game. Y'all know
It
I just
is.
joke. Y'all know I'm just joking. All right. So after Atari, where do we go? Where do we go? Are you Nintendo or are you Sega? Are you or do you say you're probably Nintendo because that's like or do you do Coleco? What are you doing?
Well, um, I was very fortunate as a child that my dad owned his own business, and needless to say, I was able to get a lot of things as a child. I hate even saying it that way because a lot of times I'll interview people and they're like, we scraped together and got this and that, and I get that, and it's
Oh,
just unfortunately, I mean, fortunately, unfortunately, whatever you want to say, I had both, and I had a lot of systems, even some rare things that came across and hard to get stuff over the years. But yeah, it was the NES, Sega. I had I wouldn't say I had everything because I didn't, but just about all the systems that were out there at one time or another. I never had a Coleco, so you got me there. Didn't have one of those.
didn't have one of those.
Nope.
So did you have a favorite game on Nintendo?
Um, ActRaiser was always one of my things on the Super NES. On the original NES, it would probably be Wizards and Warriors. I always liked that game.
Wizards and
Um,
Warriors. I haven't heard that one in a
yeah,
while.
yeah, that was good. You do a lot of jumping around as a knight and stuff, and clear the
No,
levels
I
and try
remember
not to get
that.
hit.
I
So,
remember that at Funkoland actually.
oh well, there you go.
Yeah. They had it on display. I just I like remember this
Yeah.
idea. It was on display and okay, so so what type of gamer would you say? Like let me ask you this.
Hmm.
Would you say you're like as a gamer, are you starting to identify as, like, an actual gamer at this time, or are you just like most of us who are or not maybe even most of us, just like some of us who are like, "Hey, this is something to do." You don't actually think of this as something necessarily special, it's just something you're doing.
I mean, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed getting into it and reading about it, and kind of like today, I was just fascinated by it. I'll preface the whole conversation by saying I really enjoy playing games. I love playing games, still play games to this day, but I'm not the best at it. So I've never been like, like in competition or anything. But there's certain games that I'm better at than others, and I could definitely win a few matches at Halo. But it's not like I'm just a heart. No, I would never ever claim to be anything like a skilled professional gamer or anything like that. But no, but I just didn't really enjoy it. It's just to me, it's a fun hobby, and it's just one that I've done, since I was a little kid. So I continue to do it, and I really enjoy doing it. So like I said, it's just well, gaming, especially as even through modern day, it's become um, especially if when it's become more accepted that it's a really good way to bond and make friends. The when Xbox Live came out, I was an Xbox Live beta tester,
Wow.
and I loved that whole headset thing. Of course, you're still going to get the trolls and the little kids that scream at the top of their lungs and just say obscenities and stuff. You just mute those people. But over the years, I end up meeting a lot of really cool people, and that's just I love doing that. I love that part of the gaming experience.
No, so I think meeting people, I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons I just started the channel. What's going on? It's good to see you there. So I mean, because we already kind of chronologically passed it up in the order from what I
Sorry,
understood. No, no, you're good
I
because I
jumped
think
all
it's a
over.
good. No, it's a good thing, but I think it's a good time because I'm not sure if we'll get to it later on. But you're you mentioned that you're a content creator, right? You mentioned you're a video game person.
Mhm.
We talked about genre. Like, would you say there's a genre of game you like?
Um, I mean, action adventure,
Action
type
adventure?
games probably would be what I go to most, but I'm pretty much all over the place, from puzzles to, even, sometimes a good game of solitaire. Silly as that sounds, all the way
No,
up to,
that doesn't. I actually talked
so
to a few people and that I'll be like, "What are you doing?" They're like, "I'm playing solitaire." So, totally,
yeah,
totally, it's legit. Um, and Squid, you're kind of going where I'm going with Jackson Guitar. So this is you were a DJ at
yep,
one time.
yes,
Let's talk about that. Like, how did
okay,
you get into that? Like, what type of station? Where this is like a radio station, right?
yeah,
This
the
is
the real
super
deal.
cool. So, I don't think we've had, like, a radio personality. We've had people who said, "I've been on the radio," but we've never had, like, a
Yeah,
radio personality. So, talk to us
well,
how you got into this, how
sure, sure.
like, what's the genre, like, what's it like behind the scenes?
Okay, well, we'll start back at the kinda toward the beginning.
Okay.
W I even used to, a long time ago, play drums, which I still have electronic set back here. I don't think you can see it. Yes. Yep, yep, played drums for years. My dad got me a set when I was, like, 7, because he was real big into jazz drumming and stuff like that, which obviously wasn't the way I went. I'm kind of a rock drummer. Imagine that. But anyway, so yeah,
AC/DC.
exactly. Yeah, so I, played drums, and then, over the years and through high school and stuff, was in, garage bands, as you call them, stuff like that, stuff, and eventually got to the point where we played a few gigs, like in local establishments, bars, that kind of stuff, clubs, that kind of thing. And then at one point, um, in my early 20s, was at a club where there was a band playing, and their light person quit on them in the middle of their thing, and they were asking, "Can anybody help us out?" So I was like, "Sure." So I ran their light show for a while, because being a drummer, it's a lot easier to run lights because you know the timing and stuff. So the show looked actually pretty decent for the stuff that he had, and ended up joining them for about 6 months to a year on the road, and that's where I met my first wife. But anyway, but yeah, so anyway, live and learn. But but yeah, so with that, when I was on the road with the band, their one club, their DJ got sick. So this was like a nightclub, where they'd spin tunes, band would play on the breaks and that kind of stuff. And I did that a couple of times to fill in for them, to help out them in that particular show. And then somehow that got back out to um another clubs as we were going around, and they were hiring close to where I was. So I was the house DJ in a club called Yankee Doodles in Bowling Green, Kentucky for about a year. I know it's a crazy sounding title. But anyway, and it was, I mean, they even used to have like boxing matches and stuff like that, professional, not professional, but medium grade boxing fights and stuff in their club. So all that kind of stuff, was happening. And then and it was a lot of fun doing that. And then at one point I got a job at a club in Owensboro as a DJ. They hired me in, spinning tunes, spinning records. Yes, I can beat mix. I'm a little rusty, but yeah, I can still do it. But yeah, so but it was, back then, those, type of clubs. It wasn't more, you know, funk scrap rap and scratching. It was more of just basically you start off at the bottom, at the end, at the beginning of the night, a slower song, and you build yourself up, and you just work your beats per minute up, to where you get people up or dancing and sweating, and then at some point you crash it with a slow song to send them to the bar so they can spend lots of money and get drinks, cool off, and then the guys ask the girls in a dance, and then you start the process all over again. So that
Well,
was the
so are
kind of
you, like,
DJ.
watching them? Like, are you watching people d so, like, is that how you know this is going on? Like, what
Mhm.
this is kinda crazy. I
Yeah,
never
yeah.
heard this
Yeah,
like
so
this.
so yeah, that's kinda how you have to do it, in a club, type format as you wanna build it up. Obviously, you wanna try and, play the hit songs, but you always gotta have some classics and, the the different with, like, 15 different versions of the slide, the electric slide, the whatever slide, the shuffle, they're all, those
Yeah.
kinda things, you work those in to the to the mix so you can get people to really just get into it and did that kind of stuff for a while. And then while I was working at a club, I was growing up, I was a big fan of WKRP in Cincinnati, the TV series that was on when I was when I was younger, because I'm just that's the kind of guy I was. I was a big fan of that kind of thing. So I talked to you found out, how can I get on the radio kind of thing. And then our local college had weekends where you could actually do college radio. So I did college radio for about 6, 7 months or so, just the weekends kind of thing, or and you could they let you get away with just about anything, but you still had to be, locked down to a let's say to a format, but you still had to have decorum, and you still couldn't, the basic rules of radio, you couldn't, certain words you couldn't say after a certain time, and that kind of stuff. And there's certain songs that you had to either have edited lyrics or kind of even on the college station, they still wanted you to behave, as it were. So, and with the being a personality, so I used to on college I would play you know the songs and stuff, and then it was like I said, it was late at night, maybe like 11. I'd get off, like usually like Saturday and Sunday nights and stuff. It wasn't paid, it was strictly for fun kinda thing for me, but it got me a lot of experience. But I used to use my real name, my full name, David,
Right.
and then just didn't think anything about it, just, that's my name. So and then one night, I guess it was a Saturday night about 3 o'clock in the morning, got a phone call at the house. Some drunk chicks wanting to hear their song on the radio, and they looked me up in the phone book. Oh, yeah, that went over really well. So so, yeah, so after that, I learned a big lesson. So,
Don't use your real name.
yeah. So I still use my real name, but I just go by my middle name as my last name. So David Anthony is what
Okay.
I have pretty much on everything. And, it's not
So there's
s
not as many David Anthonys, or we don't really have
correct.
phone books anymore.
Oh, right,
Well,
yeah, yeah, exactly. I got a phone book like 2 weeks ago. I was like, "What in the world is this thing?"
you
Until
did?
then, yeah, yeah, they still put them out sometimes, but it was pretty funny. I haven't had a
Oh,
home number in forever.
oh
So
my goodness.
but yeah, so that was kinda, I did that for a little bit. So then there was some job openings for overnight at the local radio station. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm gonna apply. And I did. And it was about maybe a month and a half of doing overnights when they decided I was good enough that they wanted me to be on during the day and do more commercials and all that kind of stuff. So, I kind of learned that way, doing the whole thing. Like, the big thing about radio and take some of the glamour off of it for a lot of people is that like the radio station I worked at was the Cromwell Radio Group. They're still there, but it's corporate radio. In other words, it's not like one station, like a rock station, whatever. Which I actually was the program director for the rock radio station.
Oh, we
And
have a question for you later. Don't let me forget it.
okay, okay, and then I see that question about. I love that episode, but yeah. So the um uh doing that it's you go in, you think, "Oh, wow, this is the radio station, right?" Well, there was 7 radio stations in one office, and each room housed a different, like, was a different format. So you actually, they were up and down the dial type thing, but they owned a lot of the dial. So a lot of commercial stuff would go across or whatever, like the country station, rock station. Then they had I did afternoon drive on a on the rock station, and then evenings I would do well. with radio now, you can actually re-record or record your voice ahead of time, and everything's set up to cues. So in other words, I could actually record a whole 5-hour show in about 15, 20 minutes with all the ins and outs and stuff, and they're just plugged in on a computer board. So it's kind of weird, but yeah, but like a lot of the, like a lot of station stuff you listen to, there's not necessarily somebody there, or it's something that was already pre-done. You very rarely get live. So, and then there was one time when the station, one of our hard drives went down, the computer went down, and I had to actually go live for 28 hours straight, playing everything, talking, playing, make sure the commercial stuff ran because I had to do most of the stuff by hand, but all our music was wiped. We had to re-record it in as we were going, so that was a nightmare weekend. But anyway, but another
Wow.
thing too is salary. I was like, oh, this is great. You don't make a lot of money at radio unless you're syndicated or somebody big like Bob and Tom or somebody, some big group
Howard
name.
Stern.
Howard Stern, exactly, good example. Lex and Terry out of Florida, they're huge, but they were syndicated, so they're
Yeah,
they're
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 broadcast multiple
exactly.
everywhere.
There's
Um,
there's a lot of station stuff to do, and that's how you make your money. As far as like the ones that really do make the money. So at one point, like I said, I did it for 5 years, program director. I loved it. And the best thing about that, I guess the only really perk was that we worked with a lot of different agencies and stuff to do promotions and stuff, and concerts and stuff would come through the area, and we do all kinds of giveaways and things like that. But we got to take groups of people to shows. So I mean, I've interviewed hundreds of bands. I've been to over 200 concerts, um, in just that 5 year period. So it was crazy. Me, they were, from I'm trying to think. Let's see, ZZ Top to
ZZ
Motley Crue to
Texans.
yeah. Oh, exactly, exactly. I mean, just oh my gosh, Metallica, interviewed Ozzy, just all kinds of stuff like that. That's and it's just, but it was
Ozzy.
just yeah. Well, but yeah,
He knows him by Ozzy, y'all.
Mr. Osborne, is that right? Yeah. But yeah, but it was even then it was it was a quick like 5 minute interview on the on and it was one of those too that he called in, we did the interview, he did like 2 or 3 what they call sound bites for us so we could do like where he would say, "Oh, this is Ozzy Osbourne. You're listening to 97X kind of thing, and we clip a bunch of those, and he did like 4 or 5 of those for us, and we'd save those, and I'd cut them up later and put them in drops. And then after it was done, then I'd say, oh, guys, coming up this hour, we have Ozzy Osbourne calling in, blah, blah, blah. And of course, it was already done in the can, already edited and ready to go. And then, because to be honest, at that time, you weren't really sure what you were going to get from Ozzy. Even his people were like, you just have to be patient with him. Okay. So it was a lot of fun. And I've told this story before on the Iron Lords that the best interview that I ever did to me was when I interviewed Vince Neil from Motley Crue. And it was about 6 months. He was actually on a golf tour where they were raising money for his foundation because his daughter had passed away due to a rare disease. And interview was supposed to like 3 minute plug in and out. We went almost 20 minutes, and he just kept talking, and
Keep going.
there's parts and he was crying and talking. It was awesome. And he afterwards we were done. I was like, I'm so sorry it took, we were on so long. And he was like, no, man, I loved it. It was great. He was super nice to us and everything. And it just, it was like one of those experiences where like, I can't believe that just happened. It was really cool. Now, I wish I still had a recording of it, but unfortunately, I don't think there is one anymore. But it was really good. To me, that was one of those things where it stuck with me and still sticks with me to this day because it was just a moment that was really cool. And I was part of it.
No,
So
No, that's well, and Abby says they like your movie posters, which we're gonna come to in a second as well.
Sure.
Uh, uh, but Simpleton, who's in our chat, I think Crow's also been a part of this. Rouster's been part of this conversation. Abby's been part of this conversation. Um, you you were a drummer. You
Yep.
were in rock, so I'm assuming you know classic rock fairly
Yeah.
fairly well. Um, who would you say, just off the bat, top 5 guitarists of all time?
Guitarist? I mean, I could just go by what I enjoy, you know? Um,
No, no, gotta be objective. Gotta be objective all the time.
Objective? I mean, well, I mean, I like Joe Satriani. I like, you know, Eddie Van Halen. Um, you know, um, oh gosh, there's so many. I mean, and Orianthi. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's female guitarist who's absolutely amazing. She even worked with Michael Jackson for a
Yeah,
little
no,
bit stuff.
that's what I was gonna say. She's the one who says Michael Jackson. She was in the halftime Super Bowl. She does that. That's her. She's actually still,
Oh yeah,
she's
she's
still
still around.
because she's younger.
New
She's
album's
like,
coming out. Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
she was
Yeah.
younger when she
I've got
started. I
I've
know
got
who
her
she is.
albums.
Of course,
Okay,
I
well,
know who she is.
some people don't, but yeah. So yeah, and in the chat, yeah, Prince is one of the all-time legends.
Prince.
Oh
Okay,
my god, yeah. When you talk like legendary guitarists, people would say, like Eric Clapton, who is an amazing classic, you know, rock guitarist. But when you ask him who's his favorite guitarist, he always said Prince.
Prince
So
is solid.
oh my god, he was
Prince is
so
solid.
good. He
Prince
was
is
so
solid.
good.
I mean, the fact I think I won this one, Simpleton, in our chat, Simpleton. You didn't say Jimmy Page, Simpleton. So there you go.
I
So,
didn't. I didn't.
so,
I do like Jimmy Page a lot.
yeah, everybody likes Jimmy Page, but
There's a
he's
lot of
not.
great guitars out there, man. It's really hard. Stevie
But
Ray Vaughan's another great one. Yeah.
Stevie Ray, hey, what's going on? Um, yeah, obviously I'm a little biased to Jimi Hendrix. You know,
Oh, he's amazing. He
Exactly,
was amazing.
exactly.
Yes.
Did
Oh
you
yeah.
hear that? Did you hear that, Simpleton? He said he likes Jimmy Page, but Jimi Hendrix is amazing. Did you hear that? Just wanna, just put that one in there. Just wanna put that
Alrighty then. Just kidding.
from a DJ, by the way, who knows music. How about that? Who has a guitar in his background. Beat that,
Yeah.
Simpleton.
Yeah. Guitar, a bass, drum set. Yep. Keyboards over here. Yep.
Oh my gosh. So I see chat. Hey Jeff, how are you doing? So we're gonna get back to gaming as well here in a second.
Sure. Sorry.
But no, I think we won. I think we won the argument, y'all. Jimi Hendrix, great, amazing, better than Jimmy Page. Like, what do you expect? But with that said, I do want to get to, and we're gonna do kind of the same thing we did with Sour Blow. We also have done this with Silent Cypher, a few
Mhm.
other people, and your mama knows also. Um, I think backgrounds tell a broad story, as you can tell. I am playing. But yours, actually, you have backgrounds as far as behind them, but y'all not but I want to kind of, if it's okay, if we can kind of look around, you
Mhm.
kind of talk to us about why you chose oh no, that not that. Let's do it this way. Hold on.
That wasn't me.
There we go. There we go. Why, why these posters? What do movies like? What's your connection to movies? Like, this is pretty interesting because you are a game channel, but and so normally you see game posters, but you
Yep.
have a pretty solid selection here of movies.
I do. I do. Gotta show the big one, right?
Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, talk to us. Talk to us. What are we seeing? What are we seeing? What are we
Well,
seeing?
that is the new Avatar movie, and it actually goes way down all the way to the floor. I can't go down that far. But yeah, so that is a bus poster. And what that is that at the movie theaters, when they would get them in for advertising purposes, they will have them so they can market them in bus stops in the local area. And our local theater is Malco here, that we have, and I love the Malco chain. They're amazing. And my daughter works for the Malco. She is a floor manager, and posters like that, they can't sell them or whatever. They have to either destroy them or sometimes they'll give them away. But they can't. You got to be careful and stuff what happens to those posters, because some people will try and put them on eBay and jack them up and that kind of stuff. So I have to be sworn to not ever do that, and I won't. But yeah, so that's one of the perks for her job, is that she's able to get me some cool. And I've literally got hundreds of posters that I don't even have up right
This is
now.
super cool. Like,
So
oh my goodness, this is, you want to tell why this is super cool? Uh, obviously, so we're gonna talk more about your daughter. We're gonna talk more about some of
mhm,
these movies. But I think I've talked to some people recently, and I'll bring us back both up really quick, and then
sure.
we'll look at some of these and why you chose these. Um, but I really started getting into movies recently. Like obviously we stream them, but I think I was telling you backstage that um like I really started getting into physical movies. Like, hold on, y'all, hold on. I know I started in cloud, but listen to it, there is a difference in
Oh
movies
yeah.
that I can feel, like, physical between and so I really started getting into, so obviously you showed Ghostbusters back there. I have my
Hmm.
Ghostbusters 4K Ultra HD. Also, just because I can see him in the corner and he's one of my faves, I have all the John Wicks,
Oh yeah.
Ultra, there we go, there we
Yes.
go, there we go, there we
John
go.
Wick.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get for so like I've really been kind of getting into this and doing and it's not every movie, y'all. It's not every movie. It's just the ones that I know, like the directors actually did put something into, like
Hmm.
the sound, the visuals, and they'll talk about it and how much data they can put in there versus streaming, and it's actually pretty cool. So like not your rom-com, but definitely some of these actions and sci-fi, and obviously gotta get my girl
Oh,
Zendaya,
love that movie. Yep.
you know. So I do want to, like, when I saw it, Amy, to your point, you know, uh there's something unique about movies. It's something I've recently started coming back to, like kind of like gaming, but really like kind of the experience of certain, not all movies, but certain movies. I definitely think there's just something to it. I was talking about Dunkirk last time, just that ticking clock is just
Hmm.
it's unique. It's something different. It makes you feel like you're on this time thing. And for that 2.5 hours, um, all I'm gonna say for everybody, I'm not gonna say for every movie. I'm not gonna say this is for gaming. I'm not gonna say for it. But if there's really a movie you like, uh, definitely maybe go check out like what they did, like it's the little book they put together for Steelbook Blu-ray HD, because there's a lot of love in that. Just like I tell everybody, if you like a certain story from a video game, go look at like some of the written work that the writers did outside of the game, because that's going to give you like just a bigger connection to it. So
Hmm.
that's my little thing. But let's talk about some of these. Why you chose some of these?
Well, literally have probably 30 or 40 posters sitting around that I haven't even put up. I mean, even well, like someone in the chat said that they thought Black Adam was meh. Well, I enjoyed the movie. I got the poster, and I really love the poster art, and a lot of it to me is some of the amazing artwork. On the which I wish I had it set by all the way up. The Ghostbusters one, there's actually a teaser poster which doesn't have the word Ghostbusters at all. It just has that same wild background, and then it has a field, and then it has the car in it, and it's called the teaser poster when they put out way of advance of the movie. And I actually my daughter got me that one too. I have them both. Usually I have them both side by side. I'm getting ready to redo my room around to reorganize some things here pretty soon. So, but yeah, so it's just a matter of something I like or enjoy. um, you know, the Batman. Of course, some of the lower ones there you can
Batman.
hardly see, but like a lot of the Marvel posters come in the one sheets that are well, they are the teaser posters. So like they'll just have just the main character and whatever the insignia of the name and nothing else. And I really like those as well too. Like on the Batman, that's the secondary poster. There's also the teaser poster is just half of his face in the cowl, and you see his eye, and if you close up on the eye, then you see the little question marks and stuff, which is kind of neat. But yeah, so I mean, I actually still have that poster. I just have it rolled up and carefully put away. So, but it's just to me, it's just neat. I always enjoyed posters, and was able to find these frames that fit them. They're these are full theatrical posters. They're not like copies or anything. So that means that they're double sided, double inked. So they have the reverse on the back, so that when they're in a light box, they really pop. If they were like a regular like a poster you buy in a store, then it's usually white on the back and it washes them out real bad. So that's the neat thing about movie posters. But yeah, I was able to get these frames relatively inexpensive. I have more in my garage. One of my favorite posters of all time is the Aliens Prometheus poster, and I have that in the
Really?
garage. Yeah, because it has all the xenomorphs like all around it, and it's just absolutely incredible. So, but I don't have any way of showing you because it's out in my other studio.
Oh,
So,
no, that's so, I think it's super cool, right? Like, I think we're all
thanks.
fans, like, of, media, of,
Hmm.
like, game it's definitely you're showing thanks for sharing this,
You're welcome.
as well as kinda, like, some of educational I didn't know that about the double-sided posters,
Hmm.
and, I always see and I think you're right, like, they do pop, like, it's not just like a normal poster, like, you can and I don't think that's just because of the camera or some glare, like, I actually think that they are kind of popping, and I think movie posters are really unique, just because there's so much thought that goes into that poster, right? You have to think that poster has to convey so much about a movie.
Hmm.
Obviously, there's something the trailer does, but the poster itself has to do so much, and it's just one of those forms of media that if you follow it, you have an appreciation for it,
Hmm.
and for a lot of people, they take for granted, like, what
Hmm.
a movie poster has to convey, but I think we can all, like, in our minds, think of, like, some of our favorite movies, and we know what those posters look like, we know what that cover art looks like, um, and so it's really cool that you're giving, like, in my opinion, homage to, like, the art, more so
Yeah,
than
it's to me, it's the art. I love it. It's
yeah.
pieces of art to me. I love 'em.
What is going up, geek? We need the Master Chief. No, he has a Master Chief at the bottom. Leave him alone, Murder Man.
I
Like,
actually do have a Master Chief poster
I would,
in another room because of the friends that still work at GameStop. So they would like, oh, here you go. I was like, cool.
yeah,
So not
and
two sided, but still cool.
Jinx, we're not talking about the Little Kim poster. It's a different poster that we're talking movies. I understand. Yes,
Holla.
no, Simpleton. Again, I hear those posters. But I think that's super cool. So thanks for that. And so, would you say you're a movie buff? Like, do you watch a lot of movies?
Yeah, I do. I do. I mean, I'm not a movie aficionado or anything like that. You know, uh, I could probably do pretty good on Trivia Pursuit, but some things it
No,
just
just gonna
depends.
give
You
us
know.
recommendations for some movies out there right now that you
Oh
think
yeah.
that's kind of that's what kind of do like to see what you're doing. See maybe hey I haven't seen that and Web Day gave us the recommendation, so let's go watch it.
Well, I tell you one that I even asked my daughter if she had the poster, and she did, which was this one right here. Uh, the Jennifer Lawrence movie, No Hard Feelings. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
I haven't
It
seen it.
is absolutely hilarious, and she's actually executive producer on it. And she's as a comedian,
You're
because
Jennifer
people.
Lawrence or your daughter?
No, Jennifer Lawrence,
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
Jennifer Lawrence, her comedic, moments and stuff, she's really good at it because she's not afraid to make fun of herself, and she really gets into it. So that's one of the things about, obviously she's done some amazing work as an actress, and stuff. I think won an Academy Award, so for Silver Linings Playbook, and absolutely, awesome. But yeah, she's and it's just it's the movie is so underrated. It's one of those that I couldn't recommend it enough. If you like a good comedy that has a little bit of an edge to it, so it's definitely there's some dick jokes in there. Excuse my language, but yeah. So I mean, it's definitely adult humor, as it were, but it's very funny. The premise is funny, and the way they play through it is really well done. And the other gentleman, the other actor, they did a really good job of getting him for that. And that's one of those that I bought on Blu-ray as well. Just watch the behind the scenes stuff on there. So funny.
Well, that's super okay. So go watch that, and then um, any predictions for Academy Award winner while we're on this movie topic?
Wow, that's tough. Like I've got the Oppenheimer poster, but I actually
Uh,
haven't seen the movie yet. But it's got so much good buzz. I need to watch it. But I
Oppenheimer
just
has a lot. Chat. What do y'all think? Oppenheimer. I hear a lot of buzz for Oppenheimer. I think it could be. There's a couple of movies coming in late, that may are kind of banking on proximity. Oppenheimer came out like kind of last year, like early in the year in the
yeah.
voting in the season.
Yeah, no, it's that would be one that like I said, I haven't seen it yet, but like I said, it's got a lot of bonus things I need to watch this week. I really need to, but I haven't done it yet. I was just was pulling up. I've heard Napoleon's really good, and I haven't seen that yet. But Joaquin Phoenix he's pretty amazing actor. So there's no telling what he's gonna pull off. So
Cool, cool, cool. No, well, we'll if it's Oppenheimer, I think Oppenheimer does have the buzz right now. I think if you have the buzz and you've been able to carry it through this long in the season, it's kind of like Elden Ring when they won Game of the Year. If you're early in that time frame and you've carried it over, it probably means like longevity there.
yeah, they did really well in the Golden Globes too. So I would say that's I'm not saying a
Safe bet.
lock, but it's a good chance. Yeah, good safe bet.
Killer of the Flower Moon. Yeah, but we heard Killer of the Flower Moon is also another one. I have zero desire to see Oppenheimer and Napoleon. Not my kind of flick. Too real. Well, anyway, this is kind of the premise. So yeah, Oppenheimer. Ooh, Jinx with a controversial take there was okay. maybe.
I haven't seen it yet, so I could.
Yeah,
I'll have to go with
you
it,
don't
man.
have a vested interest in
I
this.
still want to see it though. So
Don't have a vested interest. All right, all right. Well, we'll have to come back to this when the Academy Awards happen. Um,
Barbie's gonna sweep. We all know that, right? Barbie's gonna
Barbie.
sweep. Yeah, of course.
I'd be surprised if Barbie doesn't win something though. Like,
Probably
just
win something.
I'd be really surprised. And I just want to say, I think it's kind of cool that we're talking about movies in movie theaters because like 3 years around this time, we were talking like the death of the
Mm-hmm.
movie theater and are they going to come back? And so I think this last year, I know this is a gaming podcast and we're talking about movies a lot, but I want to give just appreciation for that. We had Oppenheimer did amazing. We had Barbie,
Mm-hmm.
at Mario, you had Avatar. You had a couple of movies that did. You had M Night Shyamalan come on the scene again, have one of his best performances in recent memory. Knock on the door or knock on it. Knock.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, I liked it too. I liked it too.
Yeah.
So yeah. Hey Reaver, how are you? Um, I mean, it was good, but I didn't match the hype. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna listen to it on the theater here pretty soon. So, or see it on the theater. So we'll see it. All right, back to gaming. Back to gaming. Back to gaming.
I'm here for it.
Not letting you off the hook here. So Xbox One, Xbox Live, that was kind of your thing. You were a beta tester. You did that. Were you ever a PlayStation type? Did you ever like venture in PlayStation?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, well, all right. So after I left the radio station, I left the radio station because I got a job offer at it was Babbage's at the time, owned by GameStop, and then they of course converted most of the stores over to the GameStop monarchy. So and when I went as in for my interview as an assistant manager, and they offered me almost twice as much as what I was making at the radio station. I was like, oh, I'll take it. I was like, yeah. I was like, wow, it was a big wake up call to how great radio is. Well, if you like I said, if you're not syndicated, don't get into it unless you just enjoy it, which was fun. But you know, so yeah, with that, they got store managers and stuff like that. They got us into the beta program for Xbox, and then they would also like early test like Siphon Filter and stuff like that. Those games, the pre-alpha builds, they would get store managers those, so we would jump on and you know play it and stuff to beta test those kind of games. So yeah, I was big into PlayStation, and as a manager, I was there for 12 years, and they would give you everything, systems, games, you name it. As a store manager, we got tons of stuff, and then once a year they'd fly us out to some place where we'd have kind of like a mini E3, but just for like stores and store managers. And about 3 or 4 of the years they flew us out to Vegas. That was a mistake, but a lot of fun. so so yeah, and yeah, but I played you know everything. One of my favorite systems is like the Dreamcast. I love that system. But
Really?
yeah, yep.
It's interesting because you didn't mention like your like Atari or no, 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 arcades or anything like that. And
Hmm.
so it's interesting you would pick Dreamcast as like
Hmm.
one of your
As far as the
favorites.
home console, man, yeah, when Soul Calibur came out and came on that, man, I'm hours and hours and hours burning that up on that. Loved it.
Soul Calibur. You know, everybody, I think who was I talking to? I think I was talking to Vet Cloud Gaming, now Cozy Mountain Gaming, about the Dreamcast. And I feel like everybody like when Dreamcast came out, it got a lot of hate. And now everybody's like you've got jinxes about the controller. But you actually mentioned something. You said the game, right? You said Soul Calibur came out, one of your
Hmm.
favorites. So as long as you can qualify it, what people say about Dreamcast, I'm okay with. But I think it's kind of come in vogue where people are like Dreamcast, but you actually have a reason to say Dreamcast. There's other people I'll
Yeah,
ask them and they'll be like, I have no idea.
I
So
used to. I love the entire Jaguar too, and that was really hard to catch on because it really didn't. But that controller was felt great in your hands, and it had a number pad in the center, so you could actually insert these little cards where you could. So basically, you'd have your regular controller, almost like now, except in the center you'd have like I think it was 9 buttons extra that you could assign stuff
yeah,
to.
it's
So
time
it was
ahead of
cool.
its time, ahead of its time.
Hmm.
Um, you mentioned Atari. I see you're wearing Atari gear. What do you think about Atari's comeback?
I think it's cool. I mean, the Atari brand, is it's nostalgic. Some of the games and stuff they've gone in, they've remade them or revamped them and brought them up to a higher caliber. I guess last year, well, 'cause last year it's not that long ago, but I picked up the Atari was 50th anniversary edition or whatever that
Mhm.
had like the
Recently?
you know yeah all the games, and it's like, man, I'm old. So yeah, so it was really, it's really cool, and it's a good collection, and it even has Atari stuff all the way up through the Jaguar is in the compilation. Not every game, probably a lot of people for the Jaguar would be Aliens versus Predator, but all of the rights and stuff you really couldn't do that. But Tetris 2000 is there, and that was amazing on the Jaguar. So yeah, so the Atari itself, and it's kind of it's a renaissance. The thing that they made, that was the Kickstarter, where it's basically just apple pie type thing, and you put stuff in it. That was okay, but they're really they re-released like the actual like old school type console
Mhm.
that played both the 2600 and the 7800,
Yep.
something like that. So yeah, so and I actually considered getting one when it first came out, but I haven't picked it up, and I probably won't. I just I got so many other Atari things right now, kind of thing. It's cool. It's really neat, you know. Um, hell, I even have a garage and shelf out there. I have one of the ETs from Atari, just because
Speaking
it's
of
just
it,
cool.
Jeff Janak in chat has actually he played ET. If I remember, Jeff, you rage quit that one. So I don't think he got stuck. He got stuck in the hole, and
That was the reason why they had to destroy them, is because it had a glitch in it to where you get to a certain point and you couldn't go any further. There was nothing you could do except start over. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I ended up in the sand, as it were. There's a really good documentary about that as well too. I think it's free on some of
it's
is it, oh, I can't. One of those different Roku or something like that, where you can actually watch it for free. It's the Atari Saga story or whatever, and it's the downfall of Atari with the with the ET game, and they actually go out and dig up the old cartridges and actually found them. It's
they
pretty
found them?
amazing. Hmm. Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
all in the
goodness,
documentary. It's
let me
pretty
see if
cool.
I can I love me a
Good
good
docu.
document.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good documentary. Yep.
definitely about gaming. No, so Atari, I have, I have, like, an inner bet with me who if they ever, but who's gonna rise to prominence again the fastest, and, you can probably tell the time my age with this, but, Atari or DeLorean?
Oh yeah. Well.
Like, kinda because, there's, like, a time when they were both, like, really
Hmm.
hot buzz in, like, the early '80s there, and so, I
Yeah,
have this,
somebody has
like
the rights to the DeLorean, and they're actually reproducing them now.
that's why I say, and
Yeah.
someone has the rights to
Hmm.
Atari,
Yep.
right? And he's kinda doing something too, so, like, I'm
Yep.
in this kind of, like, who if I think both of those, like, are very iconic, like, if you say DeLorean, you say Atari, like, very iconic in what they represent. Probably Atari more for gaming than DeLorean for cars, but DeLorean still was at the time, like, what they wanted to do with that
Hmm.
was still amazing. So, like, I kind of have this inner like, who's gonna do it first? So I don't know, but yeah,
Yeah. That's definitely a good bet to have, because and there's even a company that actually leases the original DeLoreans. They have like 30 of them, and some of them are actually made up to replicate Back to the Future.
Back to the Future DeLorean.
And for, like, events and stuff like that, they will actually you can, like, hire them for the weekend. They'll drive it out and unload and set it up so people can just as a showpiece or whatever for your convention or whatever. Yeah, it's and that's their business. But, yeah, you
Yeah,
can find them online too.
no, DeLorean is yeah, and I see the DeLorean. I know, Murder. Like, it's super cool. Sanchez, that's how you subscribe to. I watch Jeff's stuff on Fridays. I'm just in chat. Sometimes I may say what's up, but that was a funny one. But yeah, you're thinking Atari Jinx. We'll see. I actually I'm g I had DeLorean, but I switched it a few years ago to Atari because I think Atari's making the slow moves. It's a small team
Yeah,
there, as where DeLorean to get a car back up, you need a lot of investment
yeah.
there, and,
But you gotta think
uh
of the cost to get into one. Yeah, a lot cheaper to get into an Atari than it would be a DeLorean. Just
It's
saying.
get a lot cheaper to get into Atari than
Yep.
DeLorean. It's also, like, right now, I think car industry, ooh, talk about, like, scaling back production. So I don't know.
Mhm.
It's tough time to be a car company. It's a tough time to be a cloud gaming platform. How about that? I kind
Yep.
of, unfortunately. So hopefully, or maybe I should throw Stadia on that list. What about that, y'all? You think Stadia will make a maybe,
Negative.
Oh, no, don't say that, WebDave. Don't say that. Don't say that. But too soon, Jinx, too soon. A lot of the chat was a part of the Stadia crew, WebDave, if you didn't know.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah,
Just
not here anymore, not with us anymore. But we
yep.
always have to have a Stadia reference sometime in there.
Every
Uh,
episode, huh?
but maybe one day Jinx will think back and be like, man, Stadia's coming back. Someone bought the rights to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right, so getting back to gaming. All right, so you kind of did PlayStation, you kind of did Xbox. Um, how like where did you start to say, because you've been making content on YouTube for a second?
Mhm.
You said like, hey, started doing stuff during the pandemic, but you're actually before the pandemic.
I was,
Um,
yes.
so like, how did this start? Was this just an extension of the radio station? Like, what was going on here?
So, as I was working at the bank, after I left, um, well, basically what it was is the GameStop that I managed was a mall GameStop, and we already had 2 other GameStops in town, and they closed the mall location, and they offered me another position, but it was an hour drive away, and I was like, "I think I'm done. 12 years is a good run." So, and I got a job at US Bank, which is where I'm at currently, and,
So you went from GameStop to US Bank?
mhm, yep,
Wow.
yeah.
What a jump.
Well, yeah, I guess, but yeah, I worked in foreclosure
Okay.
and then I work with, at that time, boy, it was really big. Thank God that's not like it is, but then I got on the VA team, and basically my job was to help get VA get veterans,
VA
so they wouldn't
loans, let's
lose
go.
so they wouldn't lose their homes. That was
Oh,
my big thing, so, that's what I still do, is to help the veterans so that because a lot of times either someone passes away, someone has emotional issues and those kind of things, and we try and work with them to keep them in their homes. Uh, and most of the times we're successful. There's sometimes things are what they are, but we do the best we can to to keep to give all options, exhaust everything that was possibly can do. And
there's a lot of
sometimes,
programs for
yeah,
vets,
hmm
and, I'm sure, like, I'm looking at a VA refinancing, I forget what they call it. It's a VA refinance loan where
hmm
they give me the loan to refinance my mortgage, actually. So,
that's awesome.
no, so thank you. Well, thank you for that. I know that because you're probably dealing with veterans who are kind of hard on their luck right now, right? Or you may be dealing with a spouse who the veteran had the loan, and the spouse can't refinance
hmm
because they may not be entitled, or the veteran didn't do what they need do with the VA to do that. So imagine you're dealing with
Yeah, and sometimes there are casualties of war. So, and those are the things we have to work through as well too. And even to to this day, there are still casualties, unfortunately, that happen. And one thing that I do enjoy about U.S. Bank is they have a really good program where they a lot of the veterans and stuff too that like have lost limbs and things like that. They'll do go out of their way to if they if they help them out as far as like even get them a car or work them into certain situations or get them into work with some of the other fallen heroes foundations, things like that, to help them um, get what they can to to help the veterans get a home that has been modified for their
to
physical needs.
right.
So
No,
stuff like that. So those this kind of that's kind of like the cool part of my job. That's
no,
kind of
I
cool. It
can
makes you feel
imagine
good
like
about it.
the
Yeah.
program if you can make that happen. And are you in Minnesota?
No, I'm actually in Kentucky.
Kentucky. Okay, because I know
Mhm.
US Bank is
Yeehaw!
based
They
in
are.
Minnesota, right?
Mhm.
Um,
But we're
so
all
no,
over.
that's super cool. And hats up, US Bank's always been always does the right thing, not just for veterans, for a lot of communities. Like has a
Yep.
really great program. Um, for just for a ton for just a lot of communities, supports a lot of underrepresented, underserved communities, and I think they
Mhm.
do. I do. It's not like just a like advertisement. Like they act. Obviously, you're working there. Like they actually put a lot of effort into helping, not just advertising.
Exactly. Exactly. That's, like I said, I really enjoy it. So, um, back to the story, I guess, I'll wrap this up quick, but, I met a guy I worked with, who used to live in Florida, and him and his wife live in Kentucky now, and when he was younger, he used to do a, he's really big into metal. So on the Florida scene, a lot of big metal bands and stuff, dark metal, black metal, what do you want to call it? And he would actually produce and do his own like a flyer type magazine. and put it out on a weekly thing. And he always enjoyed doing that kind of thing, interviewing bands and stuff. And we kept talking and stuff. And he, he'd be talking about when he was at his desk, he'd be listening to podcasts and stuff. And so over the course of the conversation, a couple of weeks, we were like, well, maybe we could do that. I said, I always enjoyed being on radio. It's like, I don't want the hassle. I have to like do commercials and stuff like that. I mean, it was a job just like any other, but I still enjoyed the part of being able to interview people and talk to people and communicate and stuff like that. And it was always fun. So we basically got together and we did a show, which is still on my channel now, which is Escape Pod is what we called it. And we would interview local people, celebrities, and businesses, and just and interesting people all over. And that's how our channel got started. And then when, of course, the pandemic hit, because I have a 2-car garage that's actually is a studio as well as the room I'm in now. We used to have interviews and stuff in there. I have where I can actually have 6 guests in the studio as well as me and the host Tony, and we used to do like Game of Thrones podcasts and stuff like that out of there. It was a lot of fun. There's video footage of it still. It was crazy looking, huge. Like I said, big 500 square feet of nothing but studio. And so
Wow.
it's still a studio to this day. A little got some Christmas decorations stuck in it now. But then when the pandemic hit, of course, he was at home and I was at home, and we're like still wanted to do some stuff. And you know, his wife was susceptible, however you pronounce it, to to the virus, the colds and things like that. So it was better for her to not be around that kind of stuff. And we were all already work from home by that point. From the bank sent us all home and said, we work there. And so from that, I kind of got bored. A lot. I mean, I'd tune in like, I want to listen to some gaming stuff while I'm working, and there was like IGN and stuff like that. I was like, ugh. No offense to IGN, but it's just the things that they were talking about just wasn't where my head was at as far as their conversations and stuff. And then I luckily came across and found Mr. Boomstick and Dealer Gaming, and Colt Eastwood when he went on his own, and RDX, of course, and then Randall Thor 19 and Jez Corden with Xbox 2, and I just enjoyed that kind of stuff. And then, of course, later on, the Iron Lords, and then I'm talking to Mr. Boomstick a little bit. Then he's like, "We should come on," and he had me guest like 2 or 3 times in a week, and it was like, "We want to make you a panel member." It's like, "Oh yeah, cool." So I was on his show, and I'm on Breakfast with Boom every Friday, and then I'm also on his Monday show, which he started a lunch break special on Mondays. So I do both of those shows right now. And Mr. Boomstick, Craig, is super super nice guy. A lot of people don't know about all his story, but he was a pretty amazing guy. And and then over the course of being on his show for a couple of months, I pitched him. I said, man, I would kind of like to do something like this myself. And I talked to him about the interview process, and he loved it. And he said, you should go with it, and encouraged me to keep trying and do it. And then I was lucky enough, and I've had almost 100 interviews, I guess, so far. So, and I got lucky. I mean, there's still a lot of, there's a lot of people on my wish list that I'm sure you have a wish list too. People you'd like to get on. But
No,
Phil
but you
Spencer
had
hasn't
some
worked those
really good,
numbers.
and what I like about it is because obviously, you're on kind of an Xbox centric
Hmm.
podcast, but on your and what I like about it and what I try to do on mine is, you get everybody, right?
Yeah.
And you get everybody. It's not on your channel, you definitely interview tons of different people.
Hmm.
Um Slightly different format, but still, I just think it's like building community, getting to know
Hmm.
people, and so and I think I was telling you before, like, some of the ideas for my channel, came from your channel and how you did,
Awesome.
just building community. So thank you. I think you're doing awesome,
Well, thank you.
and,
Now I'm gonna call you out on your own show. You know that at some point in the next couple of months, you're gonna have to be a guest on my show.
what? Well, I
Yeah.
was. I
You're
would
gonna
be
have to
well,
read.
honor of course, I would
Okay,
be honored you
alright.
came on honored to be on your show.
So
Uh,
you'll be a guest sometime then?
of course.
Alright, we'll work it out then. Awesome, I'd love to have
Of
you on. I
course,
think it'd be
WebDave.
great.
It's all about building community for me because to your and you highlighted this earlier um, about what gaming can do, right?
Mhm,
And just can bring people together. And it's a theme I kind of talk about on my channel a lot, which is you know, some people can use gaming to separate people. Some people can use it to just as like entertainment, but I think if you use it for a purpose of like bringing people together, the world
mhm.
can only be a better place. So
Yeah,
anytime someone's doing that, I always have to um, give kudos and stuff for doing
thank
that.
you.
So thanks.
Appreciate that.
Um, and for everybody who's catching this later, I will link WebDave's channel down below so you can check that out. Also, link some of the podcasts he's on as well, so you can go check those out. Great times all the way around with that. So Web Dave. So I think we talked about kind of some of your stuff, right? Talked about movies, talked about your past in
Mhm,
content creation, which radio content creation, talked about some of your favorite games, your history with gaming.
mhm.
Now, just maybe thinking a little bit further, like what are you excited about in gaming right now? And what do you think is an opportunity for gaming to get better?
Well, I mean, we just had the, um, developers direct today, and
Xbox Developer Direct.
mhm, yeah, and, it was it was really good, I thought, and, games like, Hellblade 2, which I think have a good high bar, that they're setting, especially for graphics. I mean,
Well, Hellblade 2, they're saying I think it's super high.
yeah, no, well, even in the leaked documents from Insomniac, when they're telling their teams they need to shoot for that level of graphics, and that's the game they go to, that's kinda cool. Just saying. But yeah, no, I'm excited for some of the games that are coming out. This is gonna be a good year. I'm glad that Square Enix was able to, get rid of their old chief operating officer and get a new one that's more open to um, making money. So now that they're actually going to be doing more and more things, with Square and with Microsoft, I think it's a big plus. Final Fantasy 14 is coming soon. We got an accidental teaser leak the other day where somebody I think hit the button soon. So most likely February we're going to get the actual February, I think 16th. Maybe we'll probably get the where you can jump in on the beta for that, and it's free to play up to level 70. With characters, so that's pretty cool. So and that's something that's that needed to have done for a long time, and I believe some of the other things from Square are going to be coming there soon. And don't forget to, um, a lot of people sleep on the fact that that Microsoft, um, they have spent a lot of money, and are now the number one largest, you know, developer in gaming today because of their acquisitions. And they're not done. That's the big thing because they literally have over $100 billion cash on hand that they're able to spend for acquisitions. And that's what's set aside just for acquisitions. And even when they acquired ABK, once the deal was done, their cash on hand, which was estimated to be over $12 billion, that's all Microsoft's. So I don't know. Um, and it's not a it's the old days of the Nintendo and Sega, and one's better than the other, back and forth kind of thing. And Sony, I don't have anything against Sony. I just don't like some of their tactics that they've used over the years, and I think that their domination, which a lot of is Microsoft's fault, they got themselves into the position that they did. Some of the choices that they made, for sure. So it's not like it was anything evil or anything, but by Microsoft stepping up their game now and able to get, I guess, where they want to be and able to grow and really, have a chance of getting ahead of the competition is going to make Sony wake up and work hard to try and regain. I mean, right now they're still like the number one selling console, but they don't have a lot of games coming out, and you don't make that much money off console sales. So, and if you break down revenue, the revenue in gaming for Microsoft is almost double the revenue in profit that they're making for Sony in gaming. So that in itself is like a big wake up call to them, and that's why they're making a lot of these quick changes. And whether a lot of people want to believe it or not, I think that the reason that they did the um, letting go of Jim Ryan is because the where he was taking them wasn't working, and there's a lot of people that are because I mean they had slated 12 gas games to be coming out, and they've canceled or put on sleep half of them for sure, and then now Factions is gone too.
So here's
So
the thing I will
mhm,
say about that.
yeah,
You know, so I love you brought a little Xbox flair to the channel. Um,
sorry,
no, it's cool, it's natural. But I can't let it go. Can't let it
go right
go.
ahead, go right ahead.
The one thing I think murder's here. We got a couple Sanchez's in here, Cammy's in here. And I let it be known. I don't think that these are two competing companies. Like I don't like the narrative that Microsoft was only able to buy APK not because of Xbox, because of Microsoft. Microsoft's not that profit. Xbox is not that profitable, and so Sony's not on the Microsoft's level, right? I think there's a lot of narratives here, not from you per se, but I don't like having worked with Microsoft. Like I don't
Mhm.
like them. Like I don't work for them anymore. Like you talk about tactics. I know their tactics. Having worked with Sony, um, again, I I think that behind the scenes it's a little different.
Yeah, sure.
But when it comes to, I just don't feel like it's necessarily a fair comparison. Um, but by any stretch. Right now, if you're saying Microsoft, Apple, go ahead, go talk about that. Right? If you're saying
Right.
potentially Microsoft, Google, maybe Microsoft, Amazon, maybe. But to me, I don't like the even though it's just on the gaming side. I think too, and you said it right. Like Microsoft put themselves in this hole, but I think like eventually. Oh, can you hear me?
You sound like something disconnected, your mic or something. No, don't hear your mic.
You cut me off. You cut me off.
I didn't. I didn't.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but not through your mic. It sounds like it's through your camera. Maybe
Oh
I have
no.
to check your settings on the screen too.
Okay,
Go
let me
under
just
settings and see if it defaulted maybe to the camera.
let me see. Good call out.
It's happened to me before. So
No, it says audio input. Let me try this again. Yeah, I was saying stuff and WebDave did this. This is how much power he has. It's how much power he has.
excellent.
Yeah, you're right. It is the camera. I don't know how to pull this back.
Have you tried going into settings and then maybe defaulting off of it and then going back to it? If you go
Uh,
into open up settings and go under audio
oh, so
and
that's what
then
happened. Microsoft pulled this on Windows. See what I'm talking about, WebDave? This is what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about here.
so never talk bad about the client.
I don't know, but keep going. Let me see if I
That's
can.
funny.
I don't know how to use this anymore. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I don't know
I can
what.
still hear you. It just sounds a little
Yeah,
different.
but it's not a good experience. Because you're hearing from this, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you hit that perfect. I don't know how to pull it from the camera.
All right. So, you in front of you,
Okay.
you see the settings, right? The
Mm-hmm.
big. Okay. So if you click on that, then there's the audio setting. Click on audio.
I did
and
that and
then
it says Yeti microphone, Yeti microphone.
right, so click on it and choose something else. Wait a couple of seconds and then go back and choose what you want it to be and see if that changes.
Okay, let me come out. Let me go. Okay, like how you said to do this. Okay. What about now?
Hey, yep,
Work? Yo, what they so look, that's goat. That's goat. Uh, that's goat. Thank you, Update, for helping with that.
you're welcome.
No, so that's my only thing. I think like it's almost an unfair match. Like you're not gonna compete against like Nintendo, Sony, Take Two. They can't compete against that because they're playing two different games. They don't have the backing that Microsoft has,
You're
and
right.
and even now when you talk about 100 billion, that's not from Xbox, right? If you talk about their recent stock gain, that's not from ABK. That's from the hype. That it's same reason Nvidia now is 1.5 billion, right? That's
Yep.
AI. And so when I hear the narrative, like, look what we're doing, it's like, okay, like,
The only thing I'll say about it, and to your point, is that Microsoft as a corporation is $1 trillion corporation.
2.8.
They're exactly and growing, probably soon to be three. Probably maybe by the end of the year. You never know. But with that said, it's um, they're in a position to fix the wrongs that they've made in the past with the gaming division. And, you know, Phil went into Satya because they were thinking about selling it off at one point. And Phil made his case that he could turn it around and they bounced back some ideas. And Game Pass is going to be quote unquote their savior because it's making a lot of revenue now. So the good thing or the lucky thing for Microsoft is that they have their financial resources to get themselves back out of their hole. And I'm not saying
We'll
that
see.
they don't want to destroy Sony. They don't want Sony to be gone, no matter what some people think, because competition breeds success. It's just I think they want to have a more even playing field in the gaming than what they have now.
That's fair. Like I said, we'll see what's gonna happen. I think, like I said, y'all don't see me play PlayStation. You see what I play. You see what I play. I think I like Xbox. I don't like Microsoft. I make no qualms about it.
Fair enough.
you know,
Yeah.
I have nothing. I think I'll take Phil Spencer over Phil Harrison any day. I have no qualms
Amen.
about him. I think he's more of a corporate person. It's just knowing him personally than gaming. I think he's a gamer. But like I said, there's other execs, but he's way further above me than I would care to acknowledge. So nothing there. Um, but yeah, I think that the thing I want, I'm always someone who, I was talking to someone else, and there's a motivational speaker from the 80s named Art Williams, big fan of Art Williams. And he says, just do it. Right. He actually
Mhm.
kind of came out around the same time that the Nike slogan, just do it, came out. And that's all my thing is like I don't want to hear it. I don't want you to hype me up. I don't want you to show me a trailer several years in advance. Just do it. I don't want you to like tell me about how many consoles you're going to sell. I don't want you to tell me about some app store. Just do it. Like that's the thing that like I think some people have hype, but me personally, I've never been about hype. I just been about like go about it. If and then when you become number one, we'll celebrate it. But
Right.
it seems like there's an entire hype team just for Microsoft. And that's the thing, like working in gaming, like there's not most companies don't have that. They don't have that luxury. They don't have the luxury to mess up. They don't have the luxury to like put a lot of advertising into games and to not have it just meet expectations. And so
Right.
that's where I don't think that story is told enough.
Right.
That story's not told like, hey, we promised you something and it was delayed. We have to shut down. Um, I don't get me wrong, I don't think PlayStation's in that situation, but I think PlayStation's closer to that, much closer to that than Xbox is.
Mhm.
So, for sure Nintendo, right? Nintendo has had their come to Jesus moment,
Yes, they have.
you know?
Yep.
And Microsoft had that moment. Was a conversation with Satya Nadella, um, said, "Hey, look, we're gonna try to go into this again. We'll see it." I still think they have to show returns, like, just
Mhm.
because they invested a lot, we've seen Microsoft invest a lot. Um, but at this point in time, I'm not I'm not throwing giving them, any like, you have to earn it,
Mhm.
like, as a veteran, you earn respect, you earn that title,
Agreed.
and that's how I look at it. But with that said, I think there are some exciting things on the horizon for Xbox.
Yeah, me too. And, you know, PlayStation, Sony does have, they have a lot of good franchises, and they do have a big casual fan base, and you can't deny that. If especially with the Call of Duty and stuff, and casual, that's not a slam. There are a lot of people out there that own a PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 for strictly Call of Duty, Madden, those kind of games because that's where their buddies play.
Yeah,
And that's all they play. They don't play any of these other games that we're like, God of War. I couldn't, they couldn't care less about that. And that's just the way gaming is. And the best thing about gaming is that there's so many variety of games. There's games for everyone in all levels and all abilities and or skill levels. My wife used to love playing Donkey Kong Country. It was her favorite game. She played all three of those. The side-scrolling Donkey Kong, loved
yeah,
it. I got to Nintendo 64. She was all excited for Donkey Kong 64. About 5 minutes, and she's like, "I can't do this." The 3D turning around, moving the camera around, made her sick. Absolutely, she just couldn't do it. Literally, she still would play the other games, the older games, the side scrollers and stuff. But she's really big on her phones now. What I love is she's like, "Oh man, I love this game. This is great." It's like, "Yeah, yeah, I know." She goes, I said, "Is that a free game?" She goes, "Oh yeah, get one for free." I said, "Yeah, well, you've spent $80 in the last 2 months downloading extra things for Monopoly Go and all kinds of stuff." And she's like, "Oh, really? I didn't notice." Yeah. Here's the
Monopoly
receipts.
Go.
Yes, I know, just crazy stuff like that. But she's having fun.
No, that's what
But
it is. It's
yeah,
it's all about it's all about having fun. It's all about having
exactly.
fun.
It's
And so
entertainment.
as long as you're having fun, as long as you're like I said, as long as you're bringing positivity, as long as you're bringing, then I'm going for it. Then I'm for it. And like I said, I think, what like uh again, nothing against Xbox, all against Microsoft. Like, I hope some of those people like
It's all good. I mean, I don't even own stock in them, so it doesn't
Oh,
bother
you
me.
should, you should. No, you should.
It's
They
where I
pay
prefer
dividends,
playing.
and,
Oh, man, I'm sure they do.
I'm always a dividend type of person, so
There you go.
Microsoft's a solid one to do. But Web Dave, I told you I was only gonna hold you for 1 hour and a half, and I think I'm taking us right there. So, uh, the floor is yours. Anything you wanna say?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. This has been a blast. I hope I haven't been too annoying or boring for you. So, but
Oh,
uh, but I absolutely enjoyed it, and you're absolutely wonderful. And I wish you all the success in the world. I can guarantee you, you're gonna be you keep
oh.
at this, and you're gonna be you do a good job. You set up a good, fun atmosphere for talking, and that's really what I love. The conversation is the game, and I love it. So thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you for that, and like I said, I mean, you're one of the best at it, and as long as I have my chat the community here and we can mess around and sometimes, play a little rough, but at the end of the day, we're all just trying to have fun and trying to
Exactly.
navigate this while we're on this rock together that we call Earth, and, just try to try to make some good because there's too much out there that can separate us, and so, thank you for joining, and with that, where can people find you?
Well, on X or Twitter, You can just find me at WebDave, at WebDave. That's my X handle, Twitter handle, whatever you want to call it. That's where you can find me there. Um, at let's see, Outbreak Gamers is my YouTube channel. I changed it up because I do more of the gaming, and then of course we do a show every Sunday night. Is probably our most fun show, which is the Gamers Council I do with my host, co-host Retri, and that's at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday nights. And this week's guest, we're fortunate enough we're going to have Colt Eastwood on, and
Oh,
we're going to be
I'm
breaking
telling y'all,
down.
he's big, big time, big time.
Oh, nah. He's a good guy, and we're gonna have him on talking and breaking down the developers direct and everything that's going on from there and where he thinks gaming's going in the future. There you go.
Oh, no, super well, Colt. Well, talking about console wars, you gotta get,
Sometimes, yeah, him
you
and
gotta
Gaz
dabble
sometimes.
into it sometimes. No, you're good. You're good people, Web Dave. No, seriously, I
Thank you, I
mean that.
appreciate that.
Um, all right, y'all. Well, with that, as always, thank you so much for coming by. Y'all, it means a lot to me. Um, but with that, y'all know it doesn't matter where you game, how you game, why you game, what you game on. As long as you're gaming, you're good with me. And as always, the proof is in the playing. All right, take care, everybody. And I will see ya Sunday, this Sunday. All right, take care, everybody. Bye.